Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and thank you for joining to this next episode of Neo4j Live. The episode is called Improve Crime Investigations with Effective Visualization, and I'm super happy to have Alexandria Law from Kineviz joining today. Hi, Alexandra. How is it going?
Hi, Alexander. I was going to call you Alex too, so
Yeah.
it's going well. It's going well.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's all right. I think this is going to be a cool episode today. So as ever, I just wanted to invite everybody in chat to keep this interactive and lively. So if you are watching this live on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Twitter, then or Twitch, then please type in chat if you have any questions for Alex. Obviously, we both are no crime investigators, so please don't ask particularly crime investigator questions because we cannot answer those. But if anything seems interesting to you, or you want to know more, or if you want to have us show some more, particularly Alex, obviously when she's going into a couple of the visualization aspects, then please shout and we'll try to make it happen as much as we can. Yeah, before we go into the actual content, we probably it's a good idea to maybe Alex, if you could spend a few moments and introducing yourself, who you are, what you do, and yeah.
Great. Thank you, Alexander. Hello, everyone. I can't see you, but if you want to say hello in the chat, I can virtually see you. My name is Alex. I've been working with Kineviz for a couple of years now. I'm the communications coordinator working to really tell stories through graph and connected data. And since the beginning, really, Kineviz has been collaborating a lot with Neo4j. We are very complementary in our approaches to providing graph data analysis and visualization. And Kineviz, there's a link we'll put in the chat as well. Kineviz is been going since 2015. We've been a very innovative team with artists, scientists, engineers from all over the world, really trying to create creative solutions when it comes to connecting data and connecting multiple data stores into a view. And now I don't have any data science background, so please note this. So if you come with a super technical question, I will connect you with the right people, but I come from much more of a communications and networking approach, and that's what's been so fun and interesting about Graph is that you can really, it's all built on connections. It's the heart and core of the tool itself. So yeah, I guess that's a little bit about me. My background, I started out as a biologist and as a dance choreographer. I moved to the Bay Area and met these really interesting people working in the data graph space. And I guess the rest is history.
That's a cool history. Yeah, that's very cool.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So I'll go into what we'll talk about a little bit more, but Alexander, do you have anything else?
Yeah, no, we can get started in a second. A couple of people said hi, so I just wanted to bring it on to you. So Joanna said hi, Dilip said hi, Isaac said hi, Francisco, exactly, John as well. Hi, welcome again. John is a regular, I would say.
Awesome.
So that's cool.
This is my first time live streaming, guys, so please be patient with me. If I hi, this is cool. I feel special. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get started. If you guys have never heard of Kineviz, you're going to hear a little bit more about what we do. So let me share my screen. Do you guys see my screen a little bit?
Yep, here it is.
Cool.
I'll put it on.
So thanks, Alexander, for connecting through this talk. A little bit about what the inspiration was for this was this blog, Improved Crime Investigations of Effective Visualizations, which you can find on Medium. What we did is we just basically went through all the Neo4j sandboxes and started playing around and exploring the data, seeing what we could do to make this as easy and as intuitive as possible. So that's the background for why we're here today. What we'll go over from beginning to end, and we'll see what happens depending on your questions, but we'll go over the basics of what is a pole model, how Neo4j and GraphicsR work together, and what our sort of symbiotic relationship is. Working with basic Cypher queries with something which is in beta in GraphicsR right now, which is called our Visual Query Builder. Our geospatial and temporal analysis features as well. Some graph algorithms to look at sort of the centrality. For people here on the call, I'm sure you're very excited about the graph data science library that Neo4j provides. We'll show you those graph algorithms packaged in GraphicsR that you can kind of see and click through as well. So before we get started, I do want to just make a mention about our approach. We're very much visualization analytics tool. That essentially helps us to really kind of uncover hidden patterns, connections really quickly, as quickly as possible, that we can get data into a graph. The more we can start to say and the more that we can start to unveil. So the biggest takeaway here is this is meant to be fast, intuitive, and exploratory. So these are some views that you can see here that we've created over the years. The first one in the top left, we did a talk at Nodes 2020 on the US election, looking at Twitter tweets, essentially, with the mention of Biden, Trump, the election 2020. And we started to see sort of how certain followers, how people were retweeting, how they started to really polarize into these groups, these left and right groups. So we did our community detection here, and you can kind of see the blue on the left is the Biden network, and then the red is the more Trump network, and that's, you kind of see, whoa, there's a lot of action, a lot of kind of singularity in the right network. So that was an interesting analysis that we did. On the top right, we got the US flight patterns, bottom left, looking at crime over time. And on the bottom right, we have our SARS-CoV-2 mutation path. So we were looking at how the SARS-CoV-2 gene mutated over time and across locations. So you can kind of see top-down temporally, and the different branches that happen from there. So if you're curious about any of these projects, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to go in more detail. And really quickly, what is anti-crime analytics and where does visualization fit in? It can fit in many different applications. And like I said, I'm not an expert in any of these fields, but what we're looking at can be sort of applied to applications that involve policing, counterterrorism, cybersecurity, crypto crime, financial crime, and anti-human trafficking. This is a little bit of a diagram to show where visualization and what kind of data stores you can sort of integrate through GraphicsR. You can see graph database here is what Neo4j is, and Neo4j and GraphicsR work really closely together. Neo4j helps us to really just be able to store our data and manage it really effectively. And GraphicsR, we can start to like pull it apart and start to see visually what's going on. So that's just a high-level overview. If you want to check our website, you can go to kineviz.com and also learn a little bit more about GraphicsR itself. You can start for free. If you click here, try it out. We also have a data sheet going over the sort of the parameters of the tool. And what we're going to do a lot is all through the community version. There's a lot of capability just with the free version itself. So I highly recommend you just get started and start playing with it. It's the best way to do it. So I'm going to show you. We're going to get started with Neo4j Sandbox. I'm sure most of you heard of it. Actually, I can
probably.
Yeah. I literally can just type in Neo4j
maybe you want
Sandbox.
to one thing, Alex, maybe you want to put out the at the bottom of your screen there's this sharing your screen message. Maybe you want to click on hide, so it's
Thank you. Yeah, that's annoying.
Going away. Yeah.
I wish I could see you guys, but that's okay. So this is Neo4j Sandbox, just neo4j.com sandbox. You can launch a free sandbox here. It will have you log in, put your information. I'm already logged in right now. Let's see if I can go back to the other projects. Is that possible? Well, for right now, I've already started a crime investigation sandbox. There's a range of other...
Top left, there's a new project button.
Oh,
underneath.
Right.
Yeah, here.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's also a range of others that you can pick from, including the contact tracing, fraud detection, which I really like. We also have, you can even just start from scratch if you really want to. And yeah, I highly recommend and the movies one is a really easy one to start with as well. I highly recommend you explore that integration. And now I'm going to start to show you the free GraphicsR version. So I'm just going to click in GraphicsR Kineviz.com. It's going to automatically log me in, but let's see. I'll show you. If you go to the register page here, you can just quickly click email, set your email, first name, agree to terms of use, and you already will be logged in. So let's go back to my account here. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And well, now you know a little bit too much. I have all these projects here. You can see these are my current projects, some shared projects here as well. When you start, there will be nothing. It'll be a very blank screen. But let's say we want to start a new project with the crime investigation sandbox. I already did one, but I'll do it again. So let's go to crime investigations part 2. So I can differentiate them. And now you can see we just have this convenient little checkbox here. So you can configure your Neo4j. Now, all you got to really do here is click open the connection details under your sandbox. Copy the IP address over to the host. And then there's a password here as well. Now, what the connection type... Yeah.
Do you know if this also works with Aura?
It does. Aura? It does.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I do have a little blog about that, so I can share that as well. Here is basically saying if you want this to be completely private to yourself, or if you want to share this project with someone else and create views. So I'm going to keep this open because all this data is open and it's not releasing any personal information. So this is going to be purely for learning, and that's fine. So you can put through GraphicsR server connection, click confirm. So this is that project. And so if I wanted to share with my friends, open that padlock and I just invite them by email. Now, let's see, click to enter. So this is the GraphicsR landing page. It's like space. That's how I like to look at it. If you pull up this hamburger menu, you'll have this left side panel. If you click on the project, you'll see all the categories and relationships that come pre-built with this sandbox. Now, going back to this over here, you're also able to open this in the Neo4j browser, which I would recommend because in the browser, there are a lot of valuable resources, including queries and sort of background and context on the data itself. Yeah, looks like my computer's been a little slow.
No worries.
Let
But
me
that was
see.
super cool. When you connected to it, it immediately had everything already from the database. So all the labels, all the relationships. So it basically,
Yeah.
without doing anything else, it was already there. So
Right. And actually, just so you can see like how quickly you can pull the data into graph form, you can literally just click in, let's say I want to pull in crimes. I can pull in a sample of crime nodes into the graph, right? Now, this way only pulls in a few nodes at a time. If you want to pull in more nodes, for example, I would run a Cypher query, and I will show you how to do that just now. But let's just actually hit the ground running. We've got a few crimes here. Let me configure my crimes to have captions. There we go. Now I can kind of start to see what kinds of crimes we're looking at. You can also bring up a table here. And I always like to go to the enhanced table view and start to see what we're looking at as well. And this shows you kind of the last step that was taken on that investigation. So we got, this was an incomplete investigation, under investigation, or unable to prosecute. So we got a lot of interesting things to look at. We also have dates. That's very valuable. Cool. Now we know crimes are associated with other things in this graph, but let me just go back to the model itself of what we're looking at. So I'm going to click that. Just wanted to show you that you could just pull that into the graph right away and start to work with it. So let's go back a little bit. So this is the Neo4j browser. We're working with the POL model and what that is. So POL stands for persons, objects, locations, and events. And persons in this data set can be investigators, suspects, and that kind of thing. But there's plenty of other categories that they can fall under. Objects, vehicles, weapons, for example, and locations. We're going to have postal codes, area codes, and also addresses. And then the events itself are going to be the crimes, arrests, and things like that. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this model is very simple, so that we can start to branch out and see sort of like the connections and start to ask ourselves questions about like who participated in this crime or who's investigating that crime, where did these crimes happen, what types of crimes are most prevalent in certain locations, for example. So it's a very, very good model to start with when we're looking at this kind of data.
Mm-hmm.
So this goes over those use cases that we talked about a little bit earlier. Now, here you can call these schema. So all of us know how to do that. Call DB schema visualization. We can just play, and you can see that here on Neo4j. It's very nice. You can also, I'm going to copy this as well and show you how to do that on GraphicsStar. So we have our query panel here, and copy.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. You can copy your Cypher. Under Cypher, you can call DB schema. And there we have it. So,
nice.
So the only thing here is I had to add the captions, but you can see it on the right, what we're looking at as well. So obviously we have persons connected to crimes, connected to locations. And then from locations, we have postcode and area code. And let's see. What I like to do actually is go to the layout here. We have our 2D capabilities now. Woohoo, fancy. Oh. And let's see, phone number and phone call. So the heart of this graph right now is that we got persons, we've got locations, and we've got crimes, right? And then we can do another layer of analysis from that. So what I want to look at is, let's just say we want to look at, let's do a simple query for pulling in persons associated to crimes, right? But we don't necessarily know how to do that Cypher query yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to show you a quick tool to do that. I'm going to save this as my schema real quick. So if you go to the project data tab, we have a way of sharing views and sort of saving our progress. And so this one, I'm just going to label the schema of our graph or the data model, however you want to label it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to save that view. So when I delete it, I can always come back to that, right?
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
this is basically you save a view you like for some reason or other because you want to share it with other people or because it's something your perfect start point for, let's say imagine we are crime investigators, and this would
yeah.
be your starting point of an investigation, and go from there.
Say if I didn't even have a graphics art project, right? This link here is public facing, so anyone who has this link can open it up in a new tab here and have access to that view, right?
Okay.
And now you can configure the view so it doesn't have all the graphics art UI that you see. If you want it to be a little bit more simplified, for example, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, or obviously if I were to I would clean up this view to have a little bit of captions and make it look all nice before I share it. But that's the concept right there. So let me go back to the object. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so I'm gonna show the visual query builder. So I'm gonna go under, this is under extensions under the project tab. And if you select Visual Query Builder, there you go. Now we have this tool to help with basic Cypher queries. So let's say you're just learning Cypher for the first time. This is kind of very intuitive to use. It's using blocks to, it's basically hand draw your graph, right? You can think of this as pen to paper. Let's make this bigger. All right. So let's drag in a category, a relationship, and a category. And my first question is, I just want to pull in a lot of people and a lot of crimes and see where the connections lie, right? This is the Cypher query block. And so I'm going to specify the category. Let's say persons. Okay. And then this is going to be crime. Okay. I mean, more specific, right? Add a specific person or add a crime. But for right now, I'm just being very general. And here I'm going to leave the relationship be any relationship. So it's this star, right? So I could pick a specific relationship, but right now I'm just going to see what connects these two categories together. Then we just draw a line here and a line there. And you can start to see that the query is built. Make this a little smaller. Okay. Now there's a limit of 25 right now, but I can always adjust that. There we go. So, no, what happened? There, it came back. So let's put, I'm just going to put 2,000, right? So we get a batch of data. Then I run that, right? And now we have persons related to crime. Yeah? And so I didn't write this query. I mean, I could also copy this query, right? And also go to the query tab and do it from here if I wanted to. But we already just did it. I guess I could add 2,000 more, or maybe no, I just kept it the same. Okay. So now we're looking at these people and their crimes. And I could, let's say, add names to these people. So I'd go to the person category and caption their name. There we go. Okay. So interesting. So now we have like a network of people that we're looking at, and we can kind of see what crimes are related to those people. Now, what's the next question we can ask of this data? Remember, the heart of that model that we just talked about had persons related to crimes, which are the events related to locations. We could extract and expand upon location as well. So let's do that. So what I can do now is Control A, or I can also select all here, and then expand upon locations. So these are the relationships I can expand upon, right?
Okay.
So this is going to be the relationship that tells me, oh, this crime occurred at location, right? So I'm going to fill that in. Voila. So now we get a little bit more knowledge out of this, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's cool.
And we have a lot of relationships here. So let's see what kind of relationships we have. Party 2 occurred at. This person knows this person. Relationships via family, and so forth. A lot of social connection here. So interesting. I realize that, for instance, these are 3 different crimes, and they're all drug related. And obviously, this is 4 different vehicle crimes. What if I just wanted to maybe simplify this a little bit, to just look at which types of crime are the most prevalent, but I don't necessarily need to have it be one individual node for each crime, right? So I can sort of aggregate these different crime types. Does that make sense? Yeah, so I'm going to show you a little bit how I can adjust the settings here so you can pull your graph together a little closer. So let me show you the layout. So what we're seeing here is the force layout. Right now we're in 2D mode, but I can actually go into 3D, and it kind of brings my graph a little bit together. You can adjust the gravity to, this is like space, right? You can adjust the gravity to make it closer, or less cluttered. This is particularly important when you have a very dense graph, for example, and that happens a lot where you have kind of like a very hairy net of information, and you need to sort of space it out a little bit. And 3D is the way you would do that. So anyway, so let's say I want to aggregate these data type, or sorry, crime types. We have our no-code transforms on the left here, and the ones that are probably the easiest to get started with from the get-go are the extract and link. And I'm actually going to show you one that's a little bit more, it's probably not the easiest to get right away, but it will make sense once you see it. So I'm going to actually use merge. So merge is the way that you say, okay, if a bunch of nodes with the same property, can I merge all those nodes into one node with that same property, right? So in this sense, I'm looking at a bunch of drug nodes, and I just want one drug node, and I want to put a count. I want to put see where they come from. So I'm going to merge crime. We're going to do it by type, right? So that's what I've labeled here. And I am going to run. Okay. So now I've simplified my graph a little bit. So this is drugs.
That's super easy.
Yeah. robberies,
Yeah.
vehicle crimes, and it's kind of really fun to just sort of be very hands-on with the graph itself, right?
Yeah, yeah, that
Um,
looked cool. It's like almost like a. I mean, I could imagine you getting lost in the and
yeah.
playing around with it. I mean, we often see this that people do this in browser when you play around with the nodes and they bounce around, but this is much more fun.
Yeah, you can get really lost with the
Yes.
layouts. I have done that many a times.
Yeah.
So, and this is something. It's like, oh, cool. So this seems to be very focused here, right? Like with the course layout, you can kind of see that right away. Um, but let's say I want to use a few other tricks to make this a little bit more poignant or more readable for the human eye. So I can go to the project tab, and the project tab will have everything from the way you can put captions to certain categories or relationships
Hmm.
to adjusting node size, for example, right? I usually like to hide the pin icon. I forgot to do that.
That's cool. Can you show that again with the node size? Because this was literally just asked in chat.
Oh,
If it's
really?
possible to, yeah, if it's possible
Yeah,
to
I realize
change.
sharing
Yeah, yeah.
sharing screen doesn't make it easy for you to see it that way. So I'm gonna, I can make the edges a little bit bigger too. Thanks. I hope that's a good size, node
Mm.
size for people. Um, and also I
You
can
know, no,
adjust
I think it
captions.
was fine before. It was more like a feature thing. If you could,
Oh, I see.
make it bigger. Can you also make it bigger depending on something? So let's say if there are certain relationships, the node size gets like we just merged a couple. So let's say
Mm-hmm.
depending on a variable or depending on
Right.
some a property, we have a different size of nodes.
Yeah. So what I would do, so yes, exactly. So if I
Mhm.
were to adjust the node size, let me flatten my graph because we have. Uh, actually, let's not do that. Hold on. So let's say I want to sort of adjust node size by the most central node in this graph. So that means
Mhm.
a node that has a lot of edges, right, connected to that graph. And I'm going to imagine this node right here is going to be very big, right? So a quick way to do that is go into the algorithm left side here. We have the centrality
Ah.
algorithm, and you can click degree, and you'll notice nothing happens, but a property value is added to each of these nodes on the graph, a degree property.
Okay.
So you'll see that by, let's say, if I click on this node, I will now have a degree of 4 under that,
Hmm.
right? So, so if I want to adjust node size, I'd go to project here, and under the crime, I will put the degree as the caption. No, sorry, not caption, node size. My apologies. And
Yeah.
now you'll see, oh, okay. Vehicle
Ah.
crime is
Okay.
very,
Yes.
very prevalent in this
Yeah.
graph, right?
Yeah.
Um, and now
Yeah.
I
Very
can
cool.
also, I love the algorithms panel because you can do fun things like, oh, how is drugs related to, I mean, this is probably not a question that someone would ask, but I want to trace drugs to burglary, or I want to actually, let's say, I want to see how Diana is related to Fred in this graph,
Yeah.
or what's the path that connects them, right?
Hmm.
And we can do path finding as well. So I can say Fred's the starting node here, and then ah, let's go to not the edge Diana. I'm going to make the Diana the end node, and then I'm going to trace a path there. All right.
Yeah. And
So
then
now,
cited. Nice. Yeah.
right. I mean, this would be more relevant if maybe there was more variables that were, um, well, I don't know. This is probably not the exact question, but it's something that is asked a lot. Like, how do you trace the path from one place to another? Right.
Can it also do that if we, let's say we only have people visible and the rest is not visible, and say, okay, we show 2 nodes and or like, yeah.
Say that again. Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, if you just had the Diana and the Fred node and the rest is, it would be invisible,
Oh, I
or
see.
wouldn't have been loaded. Yeah.
Started with that. Yeah. We do have ways about that.
Don't worry.
Yeah, I don't know if I
Yeah.
can say that right now, but there are
No,
custom tools to do that, actually, that we've been developing
okay.
lately.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a harder problem than you
Yes.
think.
Absolutely.
So
But usually, I mean, imagine again. I'm imagining again what a crime investigator does. So obviously, I probably should try. If you're watching this and you are a crime investigator, let me know. I'm happy to see how it actually works. But I would imagine, you load up a visualization, you see people, you see crimes, you see locations, I guess, and then what you just showed exactly is like, okay, where's the connection between 2 people, or where's the connection between a crime or something, and then you highlight that, you want to see that, and you find out, okay, yeah, there is something there. There is a connection. There's an overlap maybe, and then it's very good to see.
Yeah, I think I see some questions. Did we address them all here? Oh, we can get to the end, I guess.
We can get to. Yeah.
Instead of using Sandbox, is there a way to add graphics art directly onto the Neo4j desktop? Yes. Yeah, so the graphics art is available as a graph app. I will show you that maybe in a moment, or will I be able to respond to everyone afterwards in some way? I'll provide resources.
We can provide resources. Exactly. Everything in addition we can put into the video description. So on our YouTube channel, you'll find that video, and then every further detail is going to be there, and every other link I'll add to the description. Yeah.
Cool. All right. I just wanted to see face again, so I'll come back to the graph here. Let's say I find this interesting. I'm going to also save this as my first view. Oh. And you'll notice that we also...
Do you want to click that hide button again?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes. It's hard to notice these things. So I'm going to clear my graph. I'm going to start to look at the location nodes a little bit more in depth and actually use some sort of geospatial analysis. So here we have our left, on the left panel, we do have a map feature. You can tell we are very much a fan of the 3D space. So if you right click, you can, with a mouse, you can move sort of like this. And when you left click, you can sort of pan side to side. So I'm going to go back here and go to Projects, Category tab. Here we have a bunch of location nodes, right? Mm-hmm. So I can, like I did in the very beginning, pull a few of those. And this data set is based in Manchester, as you will see. It zooms in on that location. And because this data set has lat-long property values, these nodes attach directly to the graph. Say you have an address or anything like that, or just, we do have address to geo, sort of like a third-party API that will allow you to also connect your nodes to the graph directly. Mm-hmm. But since this data set is already, we have those lat-long properties, this is really easy.
Well, that's very cool.
Yeah, I like to kind of do it like this. So I have like this 3D view. Okay, so we have these location nodes, and I'm going to expand upon those location nodes So select these nodes to include the crimes associated with those locations. So for that, I guess I'm going to expand by all these relationships here. See what happens. No, I don't need a postcode. Sorry. I'm just going to do a cur.dat. Here we go. Okay, so these are crime nodes.
Little mushrooms.
I know, they're like little, yeah. Hello. And I'm also going to look at people investigating those crimes. So I can actually see which officers are sort of investigating crimes across different locations, or if there's an officer investigating the same crime as someone else, for example, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to select crimes here and expand investigated by. Here we go.
Okay.
So I feel like I need to adjust my layout just a little bit here. I think the charge is kind of high. All right. So now immediately we can sort of see, so these officers, I'm going to maybe give them a different color, or maybe an icon. Person and crime, and make it red. What should we make crime? Is there like
maybe like a, I don't know, a mask or something, like a thief, you know?
Oh wait, is that a thing? No, it's a MasterCard.
No, it's like a ninja icon.
Yeah. Well, I'll just leave it as a note for right now. I'll have to think about that a little bit more in depth. But for instance, again, I'm going to kind of repeat what I did before, is looking at these officers, which ones have, multiple crimes associated with them. And again, that's a centrality algorithm that we talked about before. So just repeating my steps here. Degree. Yeah. And what I can do now is sort of look at how to filter officers that are looking at like 2 or more crimes. Right? So we have a filter panel here. And we have the degree as an option. And so I'm going to say the minimum is 2. Enter. Yeah. All right. So now, I've sort of simplified a little bit. Sorry. Who is connected to multiple crimes. Here are the officers, here are the locations, and here are the crimes. Now we also have another thing we can look at, which is the time in which these crimes happened.
Maybe before we go into that, a quick question was in chat on the maps feature, because it looks like individual points on the map, and then like these little the nodes coming out of it, so to speak. Like I said, mushroom was my other group, but maybe. Can you display lines or polygons on the map if you have like multiple? I mean, we have a couple of locations on the map, so to draw on the map level, basically.
Lines or polygons. Well, let me see. Like maybe if I can do rings, for example.
Maybe not with this. Maybe it doesn't work with this data set in particular, but maybe. Okay. I think. Yeah.
Let's see. I'm not entirely sure if this is kind of like, so for instance, instead of it coming out as mushrooms, I have these rings of crimes around these locations. I can also, let me just take out, let's see. I can, obviously I can also do things to simplify this. So instead of having, location crime officer, I can create a shortcut where it's just location and officer, right?
Mhm.
And so I just have a graph of officers by locations linked via crime inherently, if that makes
Okay.
sense. But I don't know if I understood the question properly. I probably have to come back to it. But there are ways to kind of
Yep.
manipulate this a little bit. So if I wanted to, I could select officers, hold down 5, and move them higher. So I give like a little bit more dimensionality here. There's quite a bit of customization and kind of finagling you can do, so to speak, to make it look pretty. Um, so I didn't pull enough locations here. This is like very few locations. I can pull in more locations and also look at crime by time. So let me go back a little bit here. Let's just say I pull in a little bit more locations nodes. Oh, I think somehow I left these ones out.
And they are directly loaded at the very location they are. So by
yeah,
because we have the lat and longitude values, it puts them where they occur. So in this data set, it's Manchester. It could be London. It could be United States, wherever.
So I mean, it kind of zooms into the area that you're focused in, right? So like all these locations are in and out around Manchester. But if I wanted to, you know, a lot of times you're dealing with global locations, right? So I can zoom out a little bit here. See, it looks like it's not moving, but it's going to all be clustered in that one little area in the UK.
Of course, yes. Okay.
So, well, so now I have to go back.
Where's Manchester again? Yeah.
There it is. And you can also change the kind of map you're looking at. You can do a Google view if you wanted to, or
okay.
there's a couple other maps. This is not a good color, right? Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So I prefer the black one, the map box here.
Yeah.
There we go. And I'm gonna again expand by the crime type crimes. Sorry. Occur at this location. Now, with the just these colors, okay. So what I'm going to do is sort of stack the crimes on top of these nodes and then distribute them by time on the z-axis. So the z-axis is going to be coming up and down from the graph as we see it. So if you go to the layout tab, we have this geometric layout, which we can do a range of things from a line to a circle, a spiral, and all this. I'm going to stack on top of the location nodes, these crimes. So I do this with the ring attribute. So I'm going to do this fairly quickly. Put 0, 1 here. And make location the root node here. And then stacking on top of those. Yeah. So now it looks like they're all in one area. And we have this distribution by property. So I will select the crime, date, and you can select here date. Sometimes the value is number or it's categorical if you want to separate by category, but in this case it's date. I'm going to select the crime nodes and align by Z. Oh, maybe something happened here. Sorry. Sometimes you learn every now and then.
The demo, it's live. It's with actual data in live direct. So yes, yeah, no worries.
Let's go back. Dun, dun, dun. Try this one more time. Crime by dates. Let's try number for now. Oh, I see. Spread out. Ah, there we go. I just have to spread it out. So sometimes you just got to check where you would make sure you do the steps here. And you can see sort of a few of them
So yeah, what
are
do we
below
see
the
now?
graph. We see crimes by date. And right now, some of them are below the graph. So I'm going to fix that and shift them upwards. And you can do that also by shifting up on the Z. Here. There we go.
Oh, okay.
So now, so some of these earlier crimes are lower, later more recent crimes are on the top.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So you can kind of create a sort of time series up the Z-axis and control here to expand to include the officers that we were looking at, right?
Yep.
And now we have that. So it gets a little, oh, there we go. So now you can see this one is looking at multiple. I can select this officer.
Sherlock Holmes of Manchester.
NV, yes. And look up the types of crime
like
he's investigating.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a little neighbor, right? So he's looking at violence, sexual offenses, burglary, public order, etc. And I can trace out from his connection or his node and look out by first degree, second degree, third degree,
that's super
degree.
cool.
This is our trace neighbor feature. Yeah. So that's his network. So if I wanted to, I could select all those nodes, inverse the selection and delete everything else, and just be like, oh, this is my person of interest, and this is these are the crimes associated with that case. And you can see that in the table here, because this table will only show everything that's visible in the graph, right? So
okay,
you
perfect.
can always,
so
you can always
okay.
You can export that. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. I know there's there's a lot there, and I'm sure there's questions in the chat. So I'm going to pause the sharing.
Sounds good. There are indeed questions in chat. So Adita works with a data set that has around 25,000 different nodes. Is it possible to visualize them without any hassle, or what is the limit on nodes you can display with Kineviz?
Yeah, definitely 25,000 is visible. We did, something like that with the election data set that you kind of see behind me as well. It's somewhere around 40,000 and upwards. It takes a little bit of time, and I would always suggest keeping it lower than that. And at that point, you kind of really do want to focus on cleaning your graph and making it actually readable, right? Beyond 40, 50,000. But below that, that is something that is very easily done with GraphicsR.
Yeah.
And if you want more information about sort of the bandwidth and capabilities, there's more background the Kineviz engineers can give you on that.
Sounds good. No, I think it always depends, right? I mean, this is like this. I think I always see two approaches with a graph visualization. I mean, if you display 25, 30,000 nodes at once, it's more like a big picture kind of approach. Like the ones you show at the back of your screen is cool. You can see community detections. You see some kind of pattern, or not really pattern, but you see groups forming, and you can kind of like see a bigger overview of the data. And then at some point you wanna zoom in a little bit and find out more about what's going on.
And there's possibilities of really creating like subgraphs and really understanding how to take a smaller graph out of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
I would recommend looking at some of our election 2020 analysis. We did a lot of that, and on top of including machine learning and AI on top of the graph, which is really fun to see. So I'll share that with you as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Another question: can you also perform community detection through GraphicsR?
Yes, we can. We did that with the election 2020 analysis. So basically, we looked at people who commonly retweeted the same people and builds a community detection essentially to say, oh, these people are linked together, for example. Yeah. So I'll provide the links to that analysis. Let me get you that right now, actually. And there's a series of blogs on that. And Neo4j has a bunch of community detection as well that we could probably talk about how it works together on GraphicsR as well. That would be a good follow-up.
That's definitely, yeah. I mean, we could do that next time. Perfect. I'll copy that link in chat and also will share it in the description of the video.
So I see a question here that says, with lat long,
do they get attached to the map directly, even if there are multiple nodes that have the lat long properties? I think that's what you showed, right? I mean, if you load you load the data, and the lat long value is directly put on the map with Kineviz. It looks like we lost Alex though, so I will see if she comes back. But I think that's what happened, Adita. So because the data set has the lat long value on as a property. Oh, Alex is back in chat. No, I don't see you anymore. Oh, now you're back. Here we go. Now you're back.
Sorry, somehow they went down.
No,
but okay. Yes, the lat long does immediately map to the graph, and we also have features that include zip to lat long or address to lat long. We create geonodes basically, and we can convert them depending on how the data is stored. So, but the lat long is the easiest way to go. It's the most quick.
That's the perfect thing. Can you display nodes that don't have lat long values but connected to those that do? I think that's what we showed, right? We had the location of the crime on the map, and then we kind of went out from there to see the investigators, to see the actual crime type, and the other things to date.
So. Yeah, and you can, like I said, you could do this at a much larger scale as well. Right now, I was just sampling and sort of, exploring like the data to get going. But you could do this in the tens of thousands of nodes and see what that looks like. And again, that also requires a little bit of, adjusting it so it looks, nice and easy, filtering, right? And you can create a series of views to share with others. So that's the kind of the best way to go about it, is being able to be very iterative about your process and exploratory. And that's kind of the name of the game for us, is just how quickly you can visualize it and how quickly you can transform it to be something you can share,
Yeah.
So thanks for all the good questions in the chat here. I would suggest you can reach me at alex@kineviz.com. That's my direct email. And of course, you can always reach out to info@kineviz for any questions. And we also have a help center here. I'll also link it to you, Alexander, and you can share it with everyone else. Our help center has some learning resources, some how-to documentation, basically to get started with the data transforms that you saw. I didn't even go over extract, and that's a really fun one to do, which is you pull up, pull properties out of a category and create another node, another category out of it. So you have a bunch of resources there to look at video tutorials, including Visual Query Builder. And if you have any questions at all, like sometimes it could be it could be a path to learning the tool, any tool you learn. We're very happy to sort of schedule a call and walk you through the process.
Sounds good. Yeah, John, also very impressive demo. I have many questions which I would like to follow up. So definitely, I think there's a couple of pathways now open. We just outlined. So definitely do that. Probably, I mean, the best way is like you said in the beginning is as it's free. Go spin up a sandbox with preloaded data, so you don't have to worry about the data. Connect it to the app and just play around with it a little bit and see what it can do and how it works and how it feels, and then watch some more content, read about it, and reach out to the nice people at Kineviz and see what they
and Neo4j, you guys have all the great content. So I would read there's like a poll investigations with Neo4j. I really like that video. You should check it out. And going through the sandbox tutorial itself is really valuable. So playing with both resources is gonna be the name of the game here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So thank you so much for having me. I know we're
Thank
at
you,
the
Alex,
time.
again. Yeah, we had the time. Perfect. I mean, that's a point landing, I would say. So thank you for taking the time. Thank you for showing this. Thank you for providing the blog in the first place, so I could discover it. I was inspired, and I thought this is cool, and it is indeed as cool as it looked on static, and now I've seen it in action. I'm really amazed. It's super cool. Chat, I think, is agreeing, so I have lots of nice feedback here as well. So definitely, maybe we do a follow up at some point, like you said, with the community detection or some other data set, and look at it again.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Again, if you want to know more about Kineviz, go to their homepage or reach out to Alex on LinkedIn. And I'm sure she'll connect you and help you with your questions. With that, thank you for watching. I hope this was interesting to you. Obviously, subscribe and like on YouTube if you want to know more and want to see more. We'll be back next Tuesday, Michael and I, on a Discover Neo4j Aura. Until then, take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. And see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.